Your patent sucks because you don't have an IP strategy. My name is Steve Hansen. I've been a practicing patent attorney for over 25 years. Not only do I write patents, but I tear apart other people's patents in litigation. If you like this content, please like, follow, and share. This video is a bit of a detour. I want to talk about a solution to a problem a lot of small companies have when it comes to intellectual property in the beginning. And the problem is that they don't have an IP strategy, and they don't have somebody who's taking a holistic look at their IP issues and heading off problems and coming up with solutions. The problem when you're new is you have a couple of highly motivated, under-resourced individuals running everything, and they're doing a lot of different things. They're trying to learn everything they can as quickly as they can, and mistakes inevitably get made. And that's how a lot of my work has come to me in the past, is trying to help them deal with those mistakes. Large companies have the luxury of having an in-house chief intellectual property counsel who does a number of things for them. That lawyer will develop an IP strategy by determining what forms of intellectual property are needed to support the objectives of this business. And it really varies with the type of business and the type of technology involved. But they'll understand how to use patents, how to use trademarks, how to use trade secrets, how to use copyrights, how to use confidentiality agreements and the tools of the trade to further the business's objectives. And they'll also know how to issue spot in real time as things happen in the business, so you can head off problems. So the problem is those lawyers cost a lot of money to hire permanently on staff. When you're new, you simply just cannot afford that. So one solution that's come up to this is called the Fractional Chief IP Counsel, and that's where you have an outside lawyer who functions as the inside lawyer, but more on an as-needed basis or for a set number of hours every month, or whatever arrangement you want to strike. The point is, it's an outside lawyer who's functioning as an inside lawyer, so they have to spend more time learning the business and knowing what actually goes on in the business to actually help you out. But you bring them in to take a more holistic view of things, and not just, to say, here's a patent application, please write it and file it, that kind of thing. So the challenge can be, though, finding the right person and then finding someone whose rate is going to work well enough, right? Because if you go to a big firm and the rates are high enough, it's not going to work out for you, because you'll only get to use them for a very short period of time, and you'll end up paying the same amount of money you might have paid had you hired someone permanently. So in my opinion, what you want to look for is someone who's got that experience of knowing different forms of IP, having developed an IP strategy, having written and prosecuted patent applications, having been involved in IP enforcement, having been involved in negotiating licenses, having been involved in employment agreement drafting with respect to IP issues and all these sorts of things, but who is at a much smaller firm or is a solo or something like that. So you're not paying those big firm rates. So, and that takes some, it's going to take some vetting and some investigation, to kick the tires to find the right person. But with that kind of model and a lower rate, then you can get what you need, and it will help you head off problems in the future. Now, I can tell you that my practice, I'm a solo now. I have one paralegal, but I wasn't always that way. I started out at what is now known as one of the biggest business litigation firms in the world, and I was doing patent and trade secret litigation there. I went to a mid-sized, 100-lawyer firm in Los Angeles after that, and then I came back to Detroit and worked for an IP firm. But in all those firms, the rates were high enough that it would be hard to use them in this fractional IP role. So I got out of that structure because I knew that I didn't need the overhead that they had to do my job, and that I could keep my rate much lower than if I stayed in those firms. I'll tell you that the person who used to work for me at my first firm bills well over $1,000 an hour, and I bill well under half of that. So we exist, and I'm not saying it needs to be me. I'm saying there's people like me who have done this, and you can look for them, find someone who's appropriate for technology area. If you're involved in wireless communication technologies, I'm not the person you're going to come to. I have done that in litigation, but I have not done that in terms of portfolio building, and it's not my area of expertise. I'm a chemical engineer. But I would say, do some searches for Fractional IP Counsel and look up people who specialize or offer that service, who, have been around for a minute, have breadth and depth of experience, and, who you like to work with. But if you can get that person involved in your business and on an ongoing basis and use them in this role, I think you'll find that you build a better IP portfolio and you'll run into a lot fewer problems than if you keep sort of trying to guess at the best thing to do and going by the seat of your pants and then waiting till problems occur. So anyway, I hope that helps to keep you out of trouble, and I hope to see you here soon.